Hello, I'm here with Mrs. Rackley. This is Mrs. Bedford, and we're going to talk to you today about language families of Europe.
I'm really interested to know how many different languages they speak in Europe because I know
Mm.
it's a lot more than in the United States.
That is so true. There are like over 200 different languages spoken in Europe. However, even though there are so many of them, or I should say most of them, fit into three main language families.
Do you think, since there's so many languages, most people speak more than one or understand more than one?
They sure do, and a big reason for that too is the size of the countries, because their countries over there are pretty much the size of our states. Hay más de 200 idiomas diferentes. There are 200 different languages. Pero hay tres familias de idiomas. So we have Romance, Germanic, and Slavic are the three main language family groups that you need to know.
Since there are three families,
Hola.
yeah. Since there are three families, I wonder what makes them similar and what makes them different, or they would all be in one group.
Exactly.
Hola. Me llamo es Brian. Let's see. Nosotros queremos ir con ustedes.
That was pretty good. But actually, when you said me llamo es Brian, you don't need the ace. Just me llamo Brian.
Oh, you speak English.
No, just that first speech and this one explaining it.
You're kidding, right?
¿Qué?
So there is a lot that the different languages have in common. The first one that we'll talk about is the Romance languages. So the main thing that they have in common is they all use the Roman alphabet. That's one thing that they have in common.
And I know I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I have a friend who speaks Portuguese, and I understand some of the words she says, but not all of them. And I wonder if that's because the languages are related to each other and they have a similar background.
It sure is. I know when I was in college, I already knew Spanish and I decided to take Italian. So they put me in kind of a more advanced class that it was Italian for speakers of other Romance languages. And it was really easy to learn Italian because I knew Spanish already. So all of these languages, they all came from Latin, which was the language of the Roman Empire.
I guess that's why they have words in common, because they came from the same place and they've just grown in different directions, sort of like a tree.
Exactly. So the next language group is the Germanic languages.
I lived in Germany for a little while as a kid, and I can see they have the same alphabet, but I know when I look at it, it doesn't look like Spanish words, and I can't guess the way I can in other Romance languages.
Exactly. In Germanic, if you look on this language map here, of course, Germanic languages are spoken in Germany because it includes German, but it also includes English, which is why so many of my students in class, when they saw this alphabet, they say, hey, that's our alphabet. Just happens to say Times New Roman. That's the font that you most often see when you're getting ready to type something.
I wonder why the two languages are so different. And we don't know the answer to that right now, but what changed in that area to move those languages so different, even though they use the same alphabet?
Yeah, that is a good question. That might be something for y'all to research. But just for you to remember, I would say remember Germanic languages more in Central and Northern Europe. The Romance languages were more in Western Europe. Las idiomas de Romance están más en el oeste de Europa, pero de Germanic está en el central y el norte de Europa. And the last language family are the Slavic languages.
Now I know I watch a lot of hockey, and I can see the PowerPoint says that the alphabet is different, And that's totally true. When the players from Russia come onto the ice, I can't even read their names because I do not know the Cyrillic alphabet.
So that's a big difference. And if you look on the map, you can see that so many countries are colored in blue for Slavic. So they have all of those countries that used to be part of the former Soviet Union, those are part of that Slavic language group, even though they each have their own language. The main ones that you need to know are Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, but it's pretty much all over Eastern Europe. Slavic, la familia de Slavic, de idioma Slavic, incluye Rusio, Ucranio y Polaca. Y la mayoría de estos idiomas están en el este de Europa.
I know when you're in Europe and you can sort of see the languages and you know what's going on, and then you transfer into places where that Cyrillic alphabet shows up, and it's very confusing because we don't even know how to match the Cyrillic alphabet to our alphabet without taking some time to practice and learn.
And you may notice they don't have the same number of letters as us even. So a lot of times sounds in other languages, they don't even exist in English. And so it's not like our C is necessarily their B just because it's listed third. It's a totally different sound possibly.
All right, thank you very much. If you would answer these 3 questions that we have for you right here, and you're going to turn that in to me tomorrow on a separate sheet of paper. All right, so make sure you look back into the video if you need to get the answers to these questions. See you tomorrow.